Hi, everybody. This is Roland DeRucci with Ready Speaker. Thanks for joining my podcast today. And I have two special guests on the show. We have Mark Ezovski and Lally Amante. They're actually two friends of mine now. Lally, I'm just meeting today, but Mark, I've actually had a friendship with him for a long time. But I do consider them both friends. And we're here to speak about their short film, Disporya. Right, Lally? Is that how you pronounce it correctly?
Yes, Dysphoria.
Great. I know it's hitting the circuits right now with the festivals, and I think it just got accepted into a festival or two recently. Right? Okay, great.
Yes.
So, can you just, Lally, can you just give us a short overview of the theme of the short film? And after that, I'm probably going to just show the short trailer for our audience to watch, and then we'll come right back and talk about it.
So Dysphoria was in my head. By the way, I wrote and co-produced the film
Yes.
Dysphoria,
Yep.
and the story has been on my mind for the past 6 years. But um, I was scared to show the story to tell the story to everyone
Hmm.
because I might not be the society might not be that accepting to that story. So the story is about a Filipina trans woman
Hmm.
who transplanted in New York City, and she has this dream of becoming the woman that she is by having the sex reassignment surgery, and she's having this severe gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria is, you have an organ that doesn't match to your at birth. So the only way to cure that dysphoria, that mental illness, is to have the surgery, which is to correct the gender, to do the gender reassignment surgery. So she saved money from there, and then from there, she was so happy that finally she can be the woman that she is. But there's a lot of problem back in the Philippines. Home need financial help. So from there, she was thinking, should I still do cure my gender dysphoria and not commit suicide, or I will help to save my family's life. So from there you will find out on the film what she did.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's basically what's going on the film.
Yeah, I did watch it. I found it very interesting, and I've worked with Mark on productions, and it's great. And you two were both collaborators on this project. I definitely see what Mark brought in with his camera work and the camera shots and everything. And I do find it interesting. That you two came together on this story. I know a lot of trans people actually live in New York. I've met a few. I have a good friend of mine who's a photography artist, and her struggle with her, trying to evaluate where she wants to go in her life and acceptance with her family. She was actually a war refugee who came here and came out to her parents as seeing herself as a male gender rather than what she was born with, and that was a huge struggle with her, and through the acceptance through the years and her working towards that goal. Watching the film, I know I said I was going to flip the trailer, but I actually would rather talk to you. I'll probably show it at the end to everybody, and I think they'll really see some of the stuff that you did, because I really enjoyed the way both of you came along with the story, and were able to show the concept of body image within it for this character. And Lala, you played the lead role for this, and it was really interesting the way you had various shots of not showing the full disclosure of the body. I think that sometimes people do that just to be gratuitous, but I thought it was very elegant, the shots, the way they were lining up, and you're showing the struggle of someone's perception of who they are, and strengths and points of weakness, and where did this story really come from? You said 6 years, and I know stories sit in people's heads. Were these things that you had seen from some people in your community? Was there was a personal element to it? Was it something that sometimes you even imagine from impacts that you've seen little bits of things and it gels into a big story? Is that what happened? Just to give us a little insight on that.
So aside from the narrative of the story, it's about a trans woman who's trying to fulfill to be the woman that she is. This film is very close to my heart because as you will know, I'm a transgender woman, and when I was writing the film, when I wrote the film, there was nobody that in my mind that will play the character than someone who is very close to the story. I may say it's not 100% Lally's personal experiences. It's everyone's. Karen Santos is mostly the general transgender story experiences that, you know, for
Okay.
them to go into the full transition, they have to go into some activities that are not really acceptable by the society and the government. Well, you know, so like, and this story, I was scared for the past 6 years. I could just keep my mouth shut and live as a woman
Right.
quietly. But I believe, like during the pandemic, a lot of realization. I was never bullied. I was never after my transition. I was never bullied. I was never harassed in public. I've been living 100% as a woman, and then I realized it is my responsibility to share this to the community,
Mhm.
and you know, to open the heart and mind of the public. I also owe it to my sisters, to my co-transgender women, that, you know, that having this, you know, this experiences of, you know, having that organ that doesn't belong to you. But it doesn't just, you know, it doesn't just on that story. A lot of
Yeah.
things are being shown on this film.
I definitely
And
got that. I got
and
that from the film. I see it as a story that can impact people from various perspectives of struggles in their personal lives, of what somebody you know, there's always a concept of nature and nurture. You know, what's natural and what's in nature, what we apply in actions through nature, and what we apply from what we're taught. But at some point, you apply everything you're taught, and it just doesn't work with people, and nature takes over in a good way, where your survival instinct to be the better person, to grow, and it makes you push yourself to places you never thought you could do or push, or even how you can confront people or actions. And you know, and that's what I saw with this story. That is something that could be applied not just to that community. And of course, that's the narrative of the story, but people, I think, could take away a lot by seeing someone's personal struggle. And then I'm an immigrant myself, actually. So I'm actually a naturalized citizen. So I came here when I was 3 years old. So there's even that struggle of a different perception of culture when they come to this country, and how people fit with that. Well, Mark, tell me about your experience with Lally. Maybe a little bit how you met, how the production went. Because it was a very, I thought it was a very solid production, camera
Yeah,
wise,
thank you. I
movement. I
mean,
thought it was very solid.
we Lolly had posted an ad on one of the, you know, the Facebook film groups, and you know, I have to say, if I had known what the project was, you know, I wouldn't have submitted for it, because right, that's not, it's not my story to tell, right? It's not my place. It's not my, I don't want to be that person who's saying I'm the one that's telling this story. That's not, you know,
Right.
it's not who I am.
Yeah.
And so I don't remember what the ad was, but it was very sort of just like, you know, looking for a director for a short film. And I was like, oh, I'm a director. I can, you know, I can direct a short film. And, you know, knew nothing about what was going on. So submitted, and Lolly got my work right away, you
Yeah.
know, and that's the thing that really connected us. And when, you know, when she was speaking to me about what she was seeing in my, you know, the clips in my demo media, like, she really got what I do. And I don't know that everybody gets what I do, because I really
Okay.
am trying to tell different layers of stories, right? And Roland, you know, you played a very complex character in one of my films, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Your character in that film was a murderer, but he was probably the best person in the film.
Yeah.
I've always seen that Sully character that way, as somebody who, you know, we were talking about growth and understanding and learning and pushing yourself naturally to a place of being better, of being a better person. Those are the kinds of things I really like to talk about, and to address sort of the, you know, the gray scale of good to evil, and the gray scale of, you know, attractive to dangerous. And
Right.
you know, Lolly immediately identified that in the material that she saw. And I think that, you know, our collaboration was a really special way of identifying her story, but taking it and expanding it a little bit.
Yeah.
In terms of the way, Lolly, that we talked about it, right? Like, you've always said, like, you don't want this to be a trans film. You want this to be a film, right? And you want this to be something, and I think, Roland, that goes to the stuff that you were saying a minute ago too, where you are identifying all of these story points, and like, yeah, trends is a super important focal point in the story, but that's not the story. The story could be about anybody who's suffering and has to make a choice. Yeah. And choices, we can be put in really sort of dangerous situations where we're pushed to our limits when we're forced, not when we have to make a choice, but when we're forced to make a choice by things outside of our control. And, I saw this immediately in the script and identified all this wonderful stuff and cool script and cool story, and how to expand it and make this a universal film, I think, was something we immediately started talking about as soon as we started discussing the project, right? And then we immediately started discussing how we needed to make it weird. Yeah. And the way that we put it together isn't sort of this like ABCD narrative film in a way. It's got some sort of magical elements in a way. It's got some dream elements. It's got some of these things I was really, had a lot of fun tapping into, because it's the stuff that I was doing when I was in school. I studied experimental film in school, but really haven't had a chance to kind of play with those ideas, as a film professional, as a video professional, because that's kind of not really, where most things sit. They really are kind of standard fare in a way, right? Sort of that kind of shot, counter shot filmmaking, and the everything needs to make sense, and all, all the elements of a narrative need to have a payoff, and they need to build to a certain point. And we said, well, maybe not in this case. Maybe this kind of strange world of Karen Santos needs some more mystical, dreamlike elements that aren't connected to reality, and
I saw that.
That was kind of our process of really kind of getting it all wrapped up, and like, what are these things we need to do to really, and Lally always talks about as Karen's world. Yeah. And yeah, it's not just a story. Like, I think we can feel outside of the story of who she is, and outside of the story what has gone on in her life, even though we don't know that in the film. And I think we went out of our way to really add those elements to it. Yeah,
I think in the medium of short films, I think it is its own medium. I think that's the best place to do this kind of film. And I know a lot of people. I do short films myself, and it's a struggle to get like an interesting story out there. You want to grab people's attention, but you want to do it in the right way. You don't want to do it in a formula way, like you're saying, Mark. I think you both were very successful. And bringing it pulled me along. It really brought me along to a place. I was like, okay, I get it. I get the world, and I always appreciate that when I can get the world that they're living in.
Yeah, that's really for 12 minutes. It's really great to hear that. I think that's what we really set out to do.
Yeah, and
I'd like to thank Mark for being so open-minded to opening his heart to explore Karen Santos' world, because to be honest, I was nervous. I had the risk of trusting someone who is a hetero guy. Yeah. That he might not understand the narrative, the story that I wanted to show on the film. But when we had several meetings and everything, I told myself, oh, this director knows what I am talking about, on how I wanted to present the film. So once, we decided to do the film, I left myself behind being a producer and a writer. I just did an actress, and I left myself naked and let Mark put those story behind the scene. Like, for this day, I'm just an actress, and I had nothing to do with the writing, the story of the film. I just have to act Karen's character, and yeah, I really trusted him. There were, like, my body was unshaped during the pandemic. Everybody, gained 20 pounds, but I told Mark, I trust you on the shower scene. That I don't want anything, top down showing on the film, that and he respected that.
Yeah,
and
that's
Mark
great.
Is correct when I told him, Mark, I don't want this to be an LGBT film, because we know the story and we want to show the world that this story needs to be heard. So you cannot sell ice in Alaska, right? So I don't
Right.
want this to be on the LGBT.
Yeah, sure.
You don't want to sell ice on the North Pole. So I'm not
Right.
gonna sell this film to LGBT Film Festival because these are our alliance already. That's why.
But I think they'll come to you and ask for it.
Mhm.
You know, and I think that's
They will.
probably the better. I agree with you. That is the better tact. They're going to
Yeah.
come to you, and then you can be selective rather than just sending it where. And festivals are a weird thing. It's a bit of a grift. You know, you got to be really selective. You want your film to really shine and to have an audience that is open to whatever you do, whatever the theme is. And it's hard to find that. But I think both of you are going in the right direction with the artistic integrity of it, the trust you developed, and it does show on the film. And I think you're going to hit the right festivals, and that community will reach out to you saying, "Hey, please join us," and then you see where it fits. You know, and that you as a producer and filmmaker, both of you as filmmakers and collaborators on this, that's a great place to be. You know, and that's, you know, you have to be discerning too. You know, when people first start making films, they send to every festival. And you know what? It's the silliest thing in the world. You got to send to the festivals that matter. And if your direction for your product is, hey, I want to go reach the masses, not just my community, because they've heard the story before. I want somebody else to hear it and think about it. And I think that's admirable. So I appreciate that direction. And like I said, it does show in the product, in the end product. It shows that both you're going with that. It doesn't cater. It doesn't overly sexualize. I know there's sexual aspects
Not too much
to it.
dramatic.
No, right. Well, it's not overly.
Yeah,
It's not over the top. It's not stereotyped at all.
Yeah.
And it was great showing the shower scene. I did a film years ago about gender association. I'm Albanian. With an Albanian community, there is it's called the Albanian Virgin. It's where a woman, for 3 reasons, is allowed to live her life as a man. And she's accepted as a man in the community. That is it. They are a man. They have the man role. Everybody knows they were born a woman, but they have the man role. And it was super interesting when I did that. And I did a very similar, not like that, but I did a shower scene there too. And I remember a PA asked me as a woman, said, "Oh, you should show full naked." I go, "Why would I ever do that?" I go, "I can tell so much more with a shower head and, you know, and the right angled shot. And it's not about her being naked. It's about the story. I really don't care. She's just taking a shower." You know, that's all it is. Right. And showers are, I mean, it's metaphorically, it's all baptisms. We show that in films and in stories because we're trying to get a cleansing. We're trying to figure out where we are. And it's a stabilizing movement that's soothing and relaxing and even beautifying yourself. That's you owning your body. That's you owning yourself. And that's what I saw in this film too. Very, very akin to that moment of somebody owning themselves a little bit. I know, but at the end, I'm not going to ruin the end, but at the end, there's a very dramatic scene where the characters, you know, prepping themselves to go out, and there's ownership of herself. Yeah, within that moment, whatever it is, there's ownership of herself, of her ideal, of where she wants to be, of her struggles, and that's all that beautiful metaphor of telling that story.
Lally, talk about that for us, because I thought that was really, you know, super. I don't think telling the overall story is the brave.
Yeah.
I think you putting yourself in this situation is the brave part, because you sort of wanted the warts and all of everything. You wanted to display yourself in more masculine ways as well as feminine ways. Tell us about that. That to me was like when we were talking about, you know, the eating stuff, like all the different aspects of it were so, I'm like, wow, this, you know, she's got nerve to do this, because people, it's not what people associate with, you know, somebody who's trying to, you know, to be feminine, right?
Right.
When you're feminine, you don't want to show the masculine, right?
Yeah.
And vice versa. You know, I think it works the other way too, right? Like
it wasn't a stereotype.
You know, like
it wasn't idealized.
Yeah, but
it was very natural.
Yeah.
So Lally, tell us about that, because it was an excellent choice, I think.
So the film that makes it more powerful are the natural ones, right? Remember I told you that I bear all, I let myself naked, not physically, but you know, like taking off Lally Amante on the film and be Karen's world. It's not just a transgender woman. It's also biological women. When they're alone, they scratch everything. They fart alone. They burp.
Yeah.
So every kind of women, biological trans women, we have this manly character on us, you know. But this one is more natural. I told Mark, do you know, trans women are like this? And back in the Philippines, when I was growing up, we eat our food bare hands because buying silver spoon is kind of expensive, you know. So that's how we do it. And if nobody's watching you, then you could just, you know, put up your legs while eating the, you know, the food. So it's a matter of like being natural. And honestly, when we're about to shoot the film, I said, shit, people will know, like, you know, I'm like shy, like I don't want people to think that that's me, you know. But like that's where me and other, you know, trans women have been through, you know. So I hope other trans women will be not, you know, get mad at me. But you know, in every aspect of life, I think most women have this secret, you know, what they do on their private life. And yeah, this is the real story.
You just never see it in films, though.
Yeah, you don't
maybe in like an Amy Poehler like comedy or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
it's
like, when we're really supposed to like push it that far.
Yeah,
in like a real life sort of dramatic.
It's almost played vaudevillian,
romantic thing. Like you're never going to get shown that.
Yeah.
And I think it was so awesome that was, not only do we show it, but that was the way you wanted to show it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, it didn't develop accidentally. Like that's what you wanted. And that was amazing.
No, I got that. It came across.
At first, I don't know if I will connect with Mark, because I feel like, oh, I should be dramatic. I should be like this. And then we have some you know, misunderstanding. And he said, but trans women are resilient, and you show that. I feel like I thought being vulnerable is crying with tears on the eyes. But then when he told me, like, don't you think those experiences, like what James did to Karen Santos, isn't vulnerable, isn't, you know? So like, and then I realized when I saw the whole cut of the film, like, wow, like, wow, Mark, thank you for, you know. So it's Mark is his, you know, he's very good in his craft, you know. That's why my instinct said, you know, you have to trust this person.
That's the first thing I find with the arts. As long as you trust the people you collaborate with, you can think about how to make it better, and it naturally goes there. It just builds, the momentum happens. And I think it did show in this. I saw the trust in this. I saw, like I said, with the production value and the storytelling and the safety with each other.
I think at this time too, though, like people give directors like too much credit very often, like in the sense that, like, you know, this isn't like Stanley Kubrick, like saying this is how you must say the line and this is exactly how you must do it. You know, it's like you have an actor, whether it's Lally or really anybody else. And I did this with you guys too, Roland. It's like, I cast you guys because you were the guys that were going to tell the story.
Yeah.
And you were the right people to play the characters. And so what you're bringing to the table is correct. Yeah. So I don't have anything to change. All I have to do is say, I'm looking at this on screen.
Yeah.
And it's not coming to me on screen.
Yeah.
We need to get you to think about how to do it so it's coming to me on the screen. And so, yeah, I think there's, you know, I think there really is a sort of still old-fashioned idea of what a director does. And, you know, I saw recently, and I thought it was kind of interesting, like people want to change, you know, action and cut because they feel like it's too much of an overseer.
Oh,
well, you know, whatever. Like, okay, I get it. But to me, there's literally none of that in calling action or calling cut.
No, there isn't.
It's about, this is when we need to start and this is how we're going to end. And it's all up to you guys between that point. Like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just watching. I'm observing and giving you hints on how to make it more watchable, more on point, more to the audience.
Yeah, no, it's
so yeah,
I find that interesting.
You're fantastic and wonderful, and obviously, you know, a collaborative project is built on that. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think a lot of people have sort of kind of an old-fashioned idea of what directors also do.
At that point, I think as a director as well. You know, 'cause I do films, and I was acting in Mark's film. And I have a funny story about how he cast me. I refused to do his accent. I was set in Boston. And he's like, do a Boston accent. I said, no. I said, I'm doing an Appalachian accent this week, so I won't do it. And he's like, really? I go, nope, not changing my accent. And I'm a guy from Brooklyn. And he goes, okay, I'll cast you anyway. I think you can. So, which was kind of funny. But I always feel like when you have a good director is the eyes of the audience, in my opinion. That's how I've always seen it. That I am seeing what the audience will see. And you let the actors do what they got to do. And as long as you're true to the story, and like I said, there's trust, you can find really beautiful, interesting things. And I think, yeah, from production to storytelling to all the elements in it, I thought it was a very solid straw. I think it's going to go good places. I think people, and Lally, I think people are going to come to you and say, hey, let me show your film, please. Because I think it's a worthy story for that. There's too few of those out there. So I think we're going to wrap. We're about time, but I think we're going to. Yes.
So I was telling to Mark, this is like a proof of concept for the feature film that we're going to do.
Okay, awesome.
And that's when I got a call from Culver City Film Festival, like, we would like to show your film. And I realized, like getting there, going in LA would be a good, networking for people to see the film. And there's more story to be
No,
shown.
this is just a little snippet of what that life can be about.
One day in the life.
Right, that's all it is. And again, that comes across.
And it's a big day. Don't get me wrong, huge day.
Yeah, no, it's a big day.
One day,
But a feature film is 3 days. I mean, that's all. Yeah.
And it's not just about like who's good on this film. Lally as an actress, Mark as a director.
Yeah.
We produce a very nice short film, and that's the synergy of the teamwork.
Yeah.
It's a relationship. It's a 6 months relationship between me and Mark.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and I remember when my teacher told me, like, acting teacher Robert Grasso, he said, like, Lally, you're a good storyteller, so I hope you're not coming into acting for fame and glamour. I just want you to know that, being a storyteller is the main part of it, the main reason for joining the acting industry. And I'm like, where's the glamour and putting tape on those?
Yeah, I know. Sometimes, when you're a writer and a producer and you're telling these stories, I know sometimes you throw those out the window, the glamour. Because you're so focused on the story. Like you're saying, you expose yourself and said, let Mark take over, because I'm really working on telling the story as best as I can. And Mark took that. And that's great. No, I know. I can tell you right now. I know. I appreciated it. I actually did like it. If you get a chance, look at my films on Vimeo as well.
I actually watched the half of it.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I was just so busy. I might finish while waiting to board.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Have a watch. It's interesting because a lot of these stories have.
I like the cinematography.
Oh, thank you. Actually, that's I met that guy on the set when I did Mark's film, and we've been friends ever since.
Yeah, he was one of my former students. If you're correct.
Yeah. So we've been friends.
When's the film playing at Culver City, Lally?
It will be shown in Cinemark 18 and HD in Theater 9 on Wednesday, December 7. 12 p.m. Pacific time.
So if you're in LA,
and it's on Roku.
Get out there.
Roku Shorts Daily.
Yeah.
One of my friends watch it too on Roku Shorts Daily. So.
Okay, yeah. Well, if you want, send me the links, Mark. Maybe I can post it on the page so I can show the agenda and where else it's showing. And keep us updated, please. Love to hear about the success about this.
I think it's culvercityfilmfestival.com. The schedule is there, so everybody can watch online to stream. Okay. So
great, that is wonderful, wonderful. Well, I wish you both best of luck. I hope we can talk again about another project.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Yes, Roland.
I can't wait to see what else both of you can do.
And I'll argue with you about Squid Game too.
Yes, we can argue about Squid Game. We can argue about Squid Game.
Your film also.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, talk about it. I love it. I'd love to talk about these things. I like, I have stuff out there. I like to push people's buttons a little bit, just to show the rawness. And I think this film that you did will show people things that maybe not comfortable seeing, but it's worthwhile to see.
I love what Mark says. The stories that tend to be untold are the most powerful ones. Yeah. And I hope Disporya will open the heart and mind of people, that in every city there's Karen Santos in a small apartment.
Yeah. 100%. There is right now.
Yep.
And that's wonderful you did that. You told that story. So, all right. Okay, great.
Thank you, Roland.
Thanks,
Thank you
Roland.
so much. All the best, both of you. Okay. Talk soon. Bye.
Thank you. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.
Karen, what you're experiencing is called gender dysphoria. When your gender identity doesn't match the sex you were assigned at birth, you can feel anxious, depressed, and uncertain about yourself and your life.
I'll do it. But you need to pay me more than we discussed.